adjust this a little bit.
I totally forgot, Murray. Can you make sure that the iPad looks good, that we get everybody in?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. My job anyway.
No, not really. I mean, at this point, I think I can.
Yeah, we got
Add,
we got it.
you know, you're now more on the graphic side, the shit that.
Yeah, he said so. Paco saw that shit, but he hasn't said anything yet.
Okay, no,
And I've been checking my phone all damn day.
I bet you did.
Dude, because he was
Call me.
yeah.
Call me.
Damn, dude. Excited.
Do you want it on the iPad?
What do you prefer either or? Let's do YouTube. Well, you know what? Actually, let's do that one since it's further away.
Yeah, I was going to say that probably makes a little sense. Who am I? Just some black strong.
Anything said on this thing?
I was born a poor black boy.
I ain't seen that in a minute.
Dude, that's like I need to watch it again. It's like one of the funniest movies.
I wonder if it translates still.
The Jerk. It does. I watched it a few years ago.
My favorite movie ever.
It's still amazing.
I don't need you. I need this. That's it, literally like, so in the early days of creating whatever this was going to become,
right,
I was going to have a thermos with me at all times. And it partially from that, but obviously it was because of my coffee thing, which are caffeine free for 3 weeks.
Nice.
Caffeine has been the only thing that's been keeping me alive in the last 20 months.
Dude, I had like for like a week. I was like shaking and had gnarly headaches for.
See, that's that bullshit right there.
That's when I knew. I was like, okay, I made the right choice. Getting off the caffeine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. See, work on that.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm thinking about it too, think about a current overrated wrestler, male and female.
Does that sound okay?
On the
yeah
on the WWE side?
Okay.
On the WWE side,
could be that should be fine.
Definitely towards the end, odds and ends.
I got him right now.
I figured you would, but I just don't. I want to give you a heads up because at Wallace Seals 17,
my dude
sent that tweet, so I wanted to at least address it on odds and ends because I mean, really, there's hang on, right?
There's a big list.
Not even a big list, but just
no, there's a big list. Whoa! Did you have that down for your last guest?
I don't know.
It's a little bright in here.
All right. You guys ready?
Yeah. Ditch that 9 to 5. Oh.
Tonight on the Man from Ringside podcast, we're going to break down the G129 tournament. We're going to ask ourselves who dared try to kill Roman Reigns, and we're going to go back and break down Brock smashing Seth time and time again this week on the Man from Ringside podcast. Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel live. What up, Marks? It's your boy, special guest host, JCB, Jason Cornelius Bell, a.k.a. Jobbing for Beats, baby. Thanks, Vice. Welcome to another edition from the Band from Ringside podcast. I'm sitting in for your boy, Bill Veggie, currently finishing up his BFR road trip through Italy, Germany, all through the European side of the pond. Safe travels back, Bill, Aaron. Can't wait to see you when you get back. To my right, per usual, AC, 2-beer, Zach Pullman, advanced Cicerone, 2-beer, Zach Pullman. Tell me something good, baby.
Ah, man, I just got off work. That's good. And I'm haggard as fuck because I stayed up too late watching G1. So I am happy to be here.
He looks like he's happy to be here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Just say if you can't tell or not.
Was that convincing?
It was. I mean, in my heart of hearts, it was convincing. I can't say it for anybody else. It was convincing. And back from his hiatus, the one, the only, the mysterious, Lucha Chris, LC. Talk to me, baby.
I feel good. I'm a little under the weather again this week. Last week I was out because I was under the weather, but I'm feeling good enough to be here with you fellas this fine Thursday. Hey, I'm gonna kind of throw a little flashback to the old days.
Flashbacks.
I'm excited because we're live on social media, and what's even more exciting about that is we not only are on YouTube like we have been,
Talk to him.
but we're also live on Twitter again.
That's right.
So we're gonna try to maybe incorporate that again, see how things go.
We'll call it the safety net, if you will. We're gonna do this shit until we get it right. Shock City Studios, the place to be. Nice, cool summer afternoon, about 87 degrees. We got Sam the Mother Mom, Mr. Perfect, man in the boards this week. We're going to talk about a little wrestling, but before that, we're going to pay some bills. I'm sorry. I apologize. I haven't done my part yet. Episode 117. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Chapter 3, verse 14. Good Smart saith, hashtag Boo the Heels. It's all good, baby. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat. What's up, Becky? I love you, babe. I'll see you on Saturday. Let's pay some bills. First bill we're going to pay is for Soul Taco, the best Korean Mexican fusion food that your mouth desires, that you need to go get your ass and grab. Many places to go, many places to choose. You can go to the Del Mar Loop down from the crib. Text me. I'll meet you down there. Chesterfield, Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, Champaign, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois. 2 food trucks doing their due diligence on the weekends. Sneak on in the Soul Taco. Tell them that Bam from Ringside sent you. Our second sponsor this week is JJ Twigs on 5600 Southampton, part of our Southampton Mafia restaurant of independent restaurant tours. I'm mad at myself that I should have went there this week because of one Bill's hiatus, but that's okay. Actually, I'd rather go there when he is there and just rub it in his face because that way he can act like he owns the place.
They're probably hurting for business and building up.
No shit. Yeah.
Well, no, I was getting ready to say I'm sure Jim Beam is back in stock solidly because God knows between that and his lovely Pinot Grigio, I'm sure he likes to keep them running to either or. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What you need to do, especially on a Sunday, because I'm sure he'll come in kind of looking like, I don't know, maybe a little rough around the edges, if you will. He'll probably at the bar, especially on a Sunday afternoon once football starts.
Fucking jet lag.
Okay, and then you can really start messing with him. You ask him about his picks, because God knows he'll be betting. If those picks starting to go south, you can watch him melt down, and that show is for free.
If he picks football again, and then he picks fucking WWE, then he's in trouble.
Free. I'm sorry, for the patio, you can bring the pets, especially on a day like today. Great time to sit outside, have some drinks, bring the kids menu. It's a family-friendly environment, despite the fact that Bill is there every Sunday. 5600 JJ Twigs. Tell him that Bill sent you. And without further ado, let's get this bad boy started. Let's get to our 3 count. I'm going to kick this bad boy off, and we're going to start with the Raw side of the show. A little less, it wasn't as bad as I initially anticipated. It kind of drug up until the 3rd hour where you basically had a mad homicide on our hands where one Brock Lesnar interrupts Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler's match. Decent match, but I saw it on Twitter. It's the 23rd time they've wrestled, which is absolutely ridiculous to me. Nonetheless, plenty of more times they've wrestled. I'm sure we've gone over them many, many times. Nonetheless, they're in the middle of a match, decent match. Brock's music hits. Seth turns to look towards Brock. gets nailed with the little sweet chin music, and Brock comes in and proceeds to destroy one Seth Rollins in the ring, out the ring. F5 here, F5 there. You get an F5, there get F5, to the point where one Paul Heyman begs Brock Lesnar off. The F5s on the chair, pretty fucking brutal. I'm not sure if that was blood or not. I'm going to go ahead and take the guess and say, yeah, that's a little internal bleeding. Maybe, maybe not. Either way, that's the takeaway from me from that whole, I guess, segment of whatever you want to call it. Brock destroying Seth is what a lot of people say what should happen, because Brock is Brock. He's a legit badass in kayfabe style. And non-kayfabe style. Brock is Brock, and I get that. Ultimately, this doesn't change my mind about the match. I don't want to watch it anymore or any less. I know we have predictions next week, so I'll save the prediction for that. My question to you, Two Beer Zach Holman, how do you look at Seth Rollins after getting drugged up and down Raw on Monday night?
I don't really look at him any differently because Brock's Brock. So, I mean, if it was somebody else like doing it to him, even if it was like, say, Strowman or something who's also like a monster, I would think that it's a little much. Maybe it's because Strowman's more of a rookie. Like, I don't know. And he's also kind of cooled off a little bit, and he's not as monstrous as he once was. But like, I don't really think any different. What is interesting is, I don't know if you guys listened to the investors call last week where Vince is
No, I was
taking questions.
I was talking to my chief financial officer, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, that stuff's like available. You can listen to it. It's super interesting because he gets down on when he's asked about AEW. He's like, I don't think they're going to have any success over at Turner if they're doing all that blood and guts stuff that they've been doing. And then what do they do like this week? Like, they have like Seth Rollins like coughing up blood, which is arguably like more disturbing than like some dude like just getting hit in the chair and like bleeding, because like that kind of shit you can make sense. But I see somebody coughing, but like if you're at a bus stop and you see somebody like get hit with a bottle or something and it cuts them, like you're gonna be like, oh shit, like how can I help out? But if somebody dude starts like coughing up blood, you're like, get the fuck away from me. Like, you have no idea like what's going on. Is this guy like got Ebola? Like what is happening? Like that's weirder to me. So like I don't know. That's what I took away, is like Vince like denouncing the blood and guts, like so to speak, and then like, them doing that.
No, I didn't even think about that. LC, did this spot go too far? I read some arguments on Twitter that this spot went one step too far with the chair spot, with dragging him out, throwing him on the scaffold. Did it go too far?
I personally don't think so. And look, this obviously, so that third hour seems to be like back in the day, which it didn't really have this same effect, but back in the day when they had Raw as War and then they had Warzone at the end, it's starting to kind of remind me of that. That last hour, they're starting to kind of ramp up the intensity, I guess you could say, towards the end. I don't care. I'm the kind of guy that likes to see, first of all, I like to see Brock on TV. Everybody bitched when he never showed up on TV, and I think he's missed, 1 week since he's been back?
Yeah, I like that he's on TV all the time.
Yeah,
but what's funny is he's not even champion.
No, exactly.
Like, so
yeah, once he gets the belt, he's out.
He took it, but like now he's champion. But like he wasn't champion,
right?
But there was just that big gap where he was champion and wasn't on TV. So yeah,
but no, you're good. I love it personally. I thought the intensity there, like I said before, the word intensity is a big deal to me when it comes to wrestling, and especially on Raw and SmackDown, where it lacks for the last however many years now. Like you said, with Paul Heyman being Paul Heyman in the beginning, and then after that third F5 onto the chair, he's screaming and pleading with Brock to stop. That's a nice touch. But you got to remember, if you look back, quite a few months ago, I think it was either Brock or Braun and Roman. They did the same thing with Roman. Roman had the blood coming out of his mouth, and so who cares, man? Like, it's clearly a work.
Yeah.
As long as you believe in the work and everything, and don't. It's still real to me, damn it. But I ate it up personally, and like I said, I'm a huge fan of Brock Lesnar, especially when he's around, and I'm not a massive fan of Seth Rollins right now. So
No.
I like where they're taking this. Whether they take it in the direction of Brock taking the advantage and going on to take the championship, or Seth finally puts a little fire under his ass, or more fire under his ass to get at Brock. Like, I don't know.
That was going to be my next point where, okay, obviously 2 weeks from now, so we'll tape next week. That'll be the prediction week. And then the following week, that Sunday, I believe it's the 11th, will be not Survivor Series, but SummerSlam. So there's a week for Seth to get, quote unquote, some get back. Do you think he gets get back, number one? And two, how far does Seth Rollins go to get back?
Dude, I haven't even thought about it. Like, that's the thing, is like, this is not enticing to like see what happens next week or think about what happens at SummerSlam. You asking me right now is the first time like I've thought about it.
Okay,
like, you know what I mean? Like,
no. I've said it on Twitter multiple times. This match or this card that's coming up for SummerSlam, I know they announced a couple more matches. We'll get to that in the odds and ends or whatever the case may be. There's one match that I'm actually like, okay, I want to see this match. I'm pretty sure who's going to win, but Kofi, Randy Orton, and that's it. I could care about the other matches. They're just on the card to be on the card as far as I'm concerned.
On paper, it looks pretty good.
On paper, it looks good.
AJ Ricochet.
Charlotte Trish,
that could be good. I feel like Trish, like as far as legends go, like she could go pretty good. But you just also never know what's actually going to be on the card. Like they're talking, like this is like confirmed but not announced. Like it's going to be Ziggler Goldberg.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so like,
yeah,
it's just we got like no build up. It's like Ziggler keeps mentioning.
Yeah, he's mentioned him like 3 times.
Mentioned Shawn Michaels. He's mentioned all these other people.
Right.
And it's just I don't know. Their plans change every week.
Lucha Christie, does this segment make you want to see this match more or less coming into this segment?
More. Because at least it's something a little different than what they're usually doing to lead up to a match of this caliber. It's not just Seth trying to tell everybody he's going to burn it down, and it just beat his ass, beat the living shit out of him. That way, if you're going to get him the win, at least there's a story being told here. He's not just, his girlfriend's boyfriend right now. He's actually in an actual story right now with Brock, and there's something on the line even more than the title, So that to me, I'm more interested because of it than I would have been had they just done something else.
One word answer. If Brock wins, who's next? 2 beer.
Hoobastank.
LC.
Goldberg. You said who's next. No. If Brock wins, who's next? I really, honestly, I like he said a minute ago, I've never thought about it.
I'll tell you who I would love it to be.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Matt Riddle.
Oh, dude. Oh.
Okay, fantasy book it. If you could have anybody to face Brock next, if he wins.
And he wins. Matt Riddle.
No, we didn't go that far down.
Drew McIntyre.
And that'll lead us to our 2 count. Let's talk a little New Japan G1. Talk to him, 2 beer.
Yeah, so we've had a few shows since the last time we aired. And Saturday night, the 27th. This is another night where baseball game ended just in time for me to turn on wrestling at the bar. And we got to see Okada Kenta, which was a good match. I mean, Okada is amazing. Kenta's been, putting up a strong showing, if not like super like inspired, like it's hard hitting. Everything's really good about this, except towards the end there was like one spot where Okada did the tombstone in the camera angle. You could just like Kenta's head was like 7 inches like off the mat. That was like the only bummer, because usually they were like so precise with all that shit. But I mean that's just like nitpicking. Like this was a good match, like hard hitting. The Sunday show, July 28th, John Moxley and Naito brought it. They were the main event. Was I texting you guys that last night, or was it like a couple days before?
I think it was last night.
Last night going into this morning. Well, no, that was 2 nights ago going into last night.
Yeah, if you guys can tell, like I got home from work and I was like lit. I was just like watching G1.
I'm bad. I'm like, man, I'm missing this shit.
Dude, it was I had a great time by myself for like a very long time.
You might not want to keep saying that.
It's usually whenever I have my best times. So yeah, Moxley and Naito and did a great tranquilo, and it was like a total perfect clash of styles because Kevin Kelly's so great, and he's like, John Moxley may be the most least tranquilo person like on the planet, and so he's mocking the tranquillo and finally gets a hold of Naito, and they really just duke it out. Fantastic. Naito gave him a DDT on a chair outside, and then he did like the Inoki, he ran like all the way down the fucking ramp and like drop kicked him off the chair. That was really good. Notable match that night too. Jay White defeated Shingo Takagi, which I thought was a big deal because it was Takagi's third loss since coming to New Japan.
What
he lost the?
Go ahead. I won't interrupt you. Go ahead.
He lost the finals of the Battle of Super Juniors to Will Ospreay, and that was his first loss. His second loss came at the hands of Juice Robinson on the first night of the G1, and then Jay White just handed him a loss, which is fine because Jay White's a former champion and he's a top guy. Like he's like, when you're talking New Japan, like even though he's not holding a belt, he is one of the top like four because like
outside of the big four, or if you want to call him one of the big four, that's fine. Ibushi, Jay White, you can kind of switch in one interchangeably.
He's kind of like
a big deal.
Gato's like dude, like Gato's like with him, and he like So anyway, that was good. Cobb and Taichi actually had a decent match. Ishii and Juice had a good match. And then the 30th. So we had, I don't know if it's recency bias or not, but Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. Oh my God, guys. This was good. This was pure fucking sex.
That was good. There's no question about it.
So Will Ospreay is like known for his high flying, like Lucha Libre kind of style. And he goes in there and does something he never does, which is wrestle a technical wrestling match. And he does it better than almost anyone else on the planet could. Like, I would say Zack Sabre Jr., Daniel Bryan, and now I think that Will Ospreay is the third best technical wrestler I've ever seen because this guy just nails it.
Hot take.
Dude, this guy, I mean, like, I'm just watching it and I couldn't believe he was keeping up, let alone, like,
and that what to me was the interesting part about it, because I was thinking to myself, now see, this is where you're walking into the Lions Den, literally, being Siegfried, Roy, whichever one of them jerk boys kept putting his head in the lion's mouth and then acting like, oh my God, it's a surprise. The lion went lion. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then another big part of the story. So these guys have a phenomenal match. I mean, just back and forth and oh my God. And what is really interesting is Zack Sabre goes over Ospreay, and now Ospreay's out of the tournament. And this dude like can't win. And Zack Sabre was not going to win because he was 2-4. And it just like really goes to show that even though Ospreay is, I mean, I've said it, I've been saying it, he's the best wrestler this year.
I agree.
Had the best 2019 of anybody.
So far, so good.
And he's still a junior heavyweight.
Right.
Like, and they're going to beat the junior heavyweight. And it's just really interesting that, I mean, New Japan's great. They are very traditional, and some of that tradition is great. And then sometimes I feel like the conservatism as far as like just being traditional and being slow to change can be hurtful, because I think Ospreay should have been in the end. He should have been in contention this entire tournament.
No, I understand that, but if there's something to nitpick about, that could be something to nitpick about. But until they decide that they want to move him up, and it's going to happen at some point, you see the natural evolution. He's putting on weight. He's not doing the high spots like he was just say a year ago. I think he kind of sees the bigger picture.
And I feel like
Okada's in the way though. So I mean, there's something to be said about that too. That stablemates plus Okada's the man.
Yeah. And I think like you said, just being patient. Like I'm just like, again, recency bias, and like I'm upset about it, but like New Japan like always follows through with the story. Like this will be part of Ospreay's overall story.
Yeah, but the payoff might be a year, 2 years down the line. But yeah, because we'll go along that journey, and I'll get to mess with you about it when it happens.
Yeah.
You remember when you were like so So to me, it's going to be the big picture, like you said, the long-term booking that when it pays off, you'll be appreciated more. You'll be blubbering like a little baby. Go ahead.
I know. Yeah, and he's 25. So hopefully he's got 25 more years in him, but we'll see how he wrestles.
I was about to say he should be fine.
He's
for
a
the next couple
baby,
years.
baby in wrestling years.
No shit.
Absolutely. But yeah, that was a good show. You know, Okada and Lancer, Tanahashi and Evil was really good. Again, Kevin Kelly just murdered it with the commentary. Like, I'm just sitting there. Maybe I was fucked up. Maybe I was sentimental, but like, dude,
they did a good job.
Yeah, and I did not watch this morning because I was up until almost 4 catching up on that. So I see that Moxley got his first loss.
Moxley did get his first loss. I kept trying to tell you, yeah, man, yeah. But see, this is why I kept trying to tell people because people are like, you know, that guy that I won't mention, but you know who I'm talking about, Yano's bitch ass. I kept telling people that this is what Yano does. I know he's a comedy wrestler.
That's what he's for.
But that's what he's for. He's there for the upset. Okay, so in one of those times where Moxley is just, you know, floating along, here comes Yano. Boom, here's your L. He did it to Kenny Omega. I think that was 2 years ago when he was on his undefeated run. He put him against Yano. Boom, undefeated no more. And it wasn't like it was a pin. It was a count-out victory. I know you didn't see it, so I'll just leave it at that. Basically, Yano strikes again. From there, you had Naito going over Juice Robinson. So that was a big deal because when Moxley loses, everybody that was at 4 that gets points goes up to 6. That would also include Jay White that went over Taichi. A little weird, but it was, I would just say like this because once again, I don't want to spoil it because somebody to my right hasn't seen it just yet.
Spoil away.
No. I want to do it because I want you to watch it for yourself. I'll just say this. Jay White, I can see why people don't like him, but that's why I like Jay White more because people don't like him. Sorry, not sorry. You had Jeff Cobb going over Shingo, so that's another loss.
That's surprising.
Yeah, especially when I was thinking to myself, okay, Jeff Cobb's going to get another win, but I was thinking that Shingo now, this is where Shingo was going to make his move because he was at 6. He was going to beat Jeff Cobb, go to 8. Close this gap down on John Moxley so you can kind of go from there. Unfortunately, not the case. And then in the main event, you had Goto actually going over Ishii in the main event. Hard-hitting main event, classic, 2 tanks. Nobody's giving much room, but it, at least to my surprise, once again, I was thinking to myself, okay, you know, if Ishii is going to make some dark horse run, this is where it can start so he can close this gap to 8 points. Can't do it either. So, A block wise, it is fairly a 1, 2, 3, 4 horse race with Evil on the outside, kind of looking in. You got Okada running the table at 12 points, Kenta at 8, Bushi at 8, Tanahashi at 8, then Evil at 6. To round out the rest of the field, all eliminated at this point. You got Lance Archer, Will Ospreay, Sonata, Zack Sabre Jr., and Bad Luck Fale. For the record, they all have 4 points. On the B block side, this is a mosh pit of second place guys. Moxley taking his first loss this week, but he's still leading the block at 10 points. Then you have, let's see if I'm counting this right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys all tied at 6 points with the tiebreakers mostly going to John Moxley over especially Naito and make sure I'm seeing this correctly. Jeff Cobb, I don't think did he wrestle Goto yet? Don't think so.
Cobb and Goto, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So he's got some tiebreakers, and he's got Jay White coming up. Obviously, Juice at the end. So just say for this point on, Two Beard, you see what's going on. A, does Okada take the A block? B, who you got on the B block?
I think Okada takes the A block.
Does he run the table?
I think him and Ibushi, I think, are on the last night.
They're coming up.
I think Ibushi beats him to set up a match. But I think I also think that he could go completely undefeated. And in the B block, I think it's going to be Moxley, just because he's like running the table. And I think that's like a big match. And I don't think Moxley takes it, especially like since he's mostly like, he's under contract to AEW as well. Maybe if they had a better relationship, but I do think Okada wins the whole thing because a champion has never won and called out his opponent, as far as I believe. And I think Okada has broken all of these records in New Japan, and he is the new ace after Tanahashi, and I think that's one more record that he will break. He will win the G1 as champion.
Let me correct myself. I apologize. Shingo Takagi is also at 6 points, so it's a total train wreck for fighting for second place. I will agree with Okada. I think he does eventually win this. I don't think he runs the table. Ibushi does stand in the way. If he wins early, which is a good possibility because they're guys that are going to knock each other off on the way, I could see him losing the last match, but he would have to lose at least one, and Ibushi obviously have to win to start closing that gap.
He's got Sonata, Evil, and Ibushi left.
Interesting.
And we've seen him in Sonata a couple times.
Right. So. Yeah, and then I was going to say I don't see that happening, but Evil either. Okay, so all right, I'm not going to leave that alone. Okada wins the A block. B block, I'm going to go with you on the John Moxley call. I was thinking that to begin with. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Naito, Jay White is the last night. Moxley, Juice is definitely the last night. So those 4 names, I think, are the 4 big names to look out for on the B block side. Ishii as the dark horse. I've seen a lot of people say that could be Ishii's time. And in this block with these names, weird shit happens. And this is the great part about the tournament because you just don't know what's going to happen. And that's going to close it out. Let's take it to our 3 count. Now, I was talking to Lucha Chris before we started taping, and we were trying to decide who was going to take what subject. And I broke down the possible 3 counts. And Lucha Chris was very, very, I would say, excited about talking about who tried to possibly kill one Roman Reigns. Lucha Chris.
Let me take a drink. Let me take a drink of this beer real quick first.
I was about to say,
this is going to get me parched.
Okay, no, go ahead. Shit.
So, assuming everyone listening and watching right now,
let's just assume everybody
watched
knows.
SmackDown.
Yeah,
it was a fairly decent SmackDown considering, prior weeks. It was fairly entertaining aside from a couple other things, but that again nitpicking. It was a pretty decent show.
I thought AJ and Kofi was absolutely fun.
It was awesome. So, but they closed the show. I forget what her name is, but she's backstage. She's one of the little. It was Caruso. Okay, and she's talking about something or whatever, and you see Roman coming down the hallway as she's talking. And speaking of, here comes Roman Reigns, and I'm say it how it happened, and then I'm gonna tell you how I saw it. Okay, so. We see him walking down the hallway, which is not something we normally see happen. Normally, they just walk into camera.
This is after AJ and Kofi Kingston close out.
Correct.
After the main event match.
After the main event match.
Correct. And at first, I'm not going to lie. I was like, okay, they changed the camera angle up a little bit. They're not just having somebody walk on screen. They're following them down. And then she starts to scream, "Watch out," to Roman Reigns as he's walking towards her. He looks up. and is scared to death, and you see a scaffolding or whatever that stuff that was built up and a bunch of speakers just take at least a half hour to fall down on him.
Missing him, by the way.
Missed him, falls down on him. Everybody's scrambling. Cameraman sets the camera down. So in that case, the cameraman doing that, the urgency was interesting.
They at least played it up.
Right. As they're screaming for his life, I thought it was a fuck up because Roman is literally just casually sliding out from underneath of it and just sitting there, no problem. I thought maybe the camera angle was wrong and they fucked it up. And he gets up and he's fine. And he's like, no, everything's good. And then they put the little stamp on and the show was fucking over. Now let me tell you how I saw it.
Go ahead, shit out.
It was he's walking down the hallway. And as she says, speaking of Roman Reigns, you see the shadow of this shit falling before he notices it or she notices it. Then she screams, "Watch out." And he looks up and that shit is falling. And he jumped, stood there. It kept falling. Then it finally kind of hits him. it reminded me not only of Austin Powers when they're on that big machine in the hallway and he's like screaming for his life, hoping they wouldn't run him over, and then they pan out and the thing's like a fucking mile away from him. Not only that, so he reacted to this thing falling on him before, like, everyone saw it falling, including him. And then I find out.
That's supposed to be one of the best athletes.
Oh my God. And then I find out that it was fucking pre-taped. It was a pre-taped segment that they ended the show with, which means they had time. It wasn't live. They had time to reshoot something better. And then they kept playing it over and over as if we didn't see the shit that the stuff landed on, so it would avoid him. Like, this was the most awfully executed segment I have seen, and that's saying a lot considering WWE's main roster fucks all kinds of shit up creatively. What the fuck are we supposed to take out of that? And then, okay, so who done it? There's a lot of questions on who did it. A lot of people are saying that they're hoping that it was Braun Strowman, Joe. I personally, like, you know, I'm thinking in WWE terms. They ended Raw with Joe and Roman, right, and a little feud thing. And if they were going to do that and just leave it there, then, well, yeah. So I say Joe. Everybody else disagrees just because Joe's going to lose no matter what. They're not going to. But then maybe, you know,
that's what Joe's there for.
The Murray under the mask thinks that maybe they could finally start trying to use Joe in a positive light and beat the shit out of Roman. Hopefully now they will, because this, I don't necessarily blame Roman at how fucking awful that ending segment was. But
you are, dude. I mean, it'd be different if it was actually happening.
Man,
Roman Reigns clearly is not a great actor. Okay,
man,
but I will agree.
Tell that to The Rock and all those people in that new.
I'll have to watch Hobbs and Shaw before
I. AC, thoughts on? Did you see the segment? There you go. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was dumb.
Goddamn right.
And you know, this is not a excuse.
Kayla Braxton, by Twitter.
Yeah, thank you, Twitter.
Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking about Kayla Braxton.
Woo! Caruso, you mean? You got it all fucked up.
I was gotta say, clearly you can't get his
best part of the segment.
So my racially ambiguous hot chicks, like backstage, like racially ambiguous hot chicks. Like, I mean,
best part of the segment, no matter who it was.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyway,
go ahead and finish.
It's not an excuse or anything, but apparently they were rewriting this show as the show was on again this week. Even though during that investors call, Vince said that they would not be doing this because Bischoff and Heyman are around and it would allow him to not be in the weeds, as he said. So, but yeah, so they're rewriting the show, and I mean that's Nitro shit. They did that shit on Nitro.
Well, and look who's in charge of fucking SmackDown.
Yeah,
the one who's out of touch out of the two, in my opinion.
But yeah, oh for sure. But yeah, I mean it's
friend of the show.
We
love you, Bischoff, but goddamn.
Yeah. But
I can see he's gonna come back on this sometime.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish.
It didn't do anything to garner interest. You know what I mean? Like overall, the show is like pretty good. Like,
yeah.
As far as like SmackDown's like go, like
I agree.
Build towards SummerSlam. I really like the Randy Kofi stuff.
That segment was that video package was pretty fucking awesome.
Like doing a callback, like actually doing some like long-term storytelling kind of, you know, even
though
it's kind of retroactive. But anyway,
right?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck who pushed it on him. Like I just don't ever want to see that shit again.
Agreed.
Like whenever Kane did it to Braun, that was kind of cool because it was like, especially because Heyman was reacting to it,
right?
Or Brock. It was like Kane, Brock, and Braun maybe. That was like set up for the Rumble, I guess. But yeah, he killed them both. And Heyman was like selling it, like, oh my god, this guy's dead, you know, and like that whole thing where like Roman just shook it, like, who gives a fuck? Like, didn't hurt him. There was no consequences. Like, it looked like shit. Like,
it was an accident.
Yeah, who fucking cares?
It just fell, guys. Yeah. Nobody tried to kill Roman.
Yeah, here's the culprit, OSHA.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to agree with the panel on this. For WWE, I expect so much more.
These motherfuckers tried to win an Emmy.
It was pre-taped.
They wanted an Emmy. I'd rather see the fucking Shockmaster.
Oh my God. That at least had some, something to it. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Jesus.
Oh, I agree. Bad all the way around. This reeks of just last minute. Let's try to get Roman his match. It's Roman Reigns. You can.
Is that
just
how you're gonna try
announce
to get
the
him over?
match. You can just announce the match. The rumor match is Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns.
That'd be a good match.
Be a good match.
Is this a good way to build this match?
No, not at all.
No, and it probably wasn't him. He probably had Rowan do it because he's too small to push all that shit.
And that being said, I agree with that totally. If you want to use the line of thought, connect the dots, whatever words you want to use in the sentence. But the bottom line is this was poorly executed.
Wow.
This is WWE. I expect a little more from WWE. And this is just not me just doing my quote unquote usual bashing. I had some guy call me out. He's like, this guy count only bashes WWE.
That was an awesome voice.
Well, sorry. I looked at his picture. He's white.
It was so good. I'm just saying it was a great.
That was really
okay.
It was way better than mine.
I mean, he's like, this guy only bashes WWE. I'm like, look, man, you took your 30 seconds out your life to say that shit. You could have just took that same 30 seconds, hit that unfollow, turn that Joker white, keep it stepping.
So just so I can say it out loud, because I meant to remember it to say it out loud. And so on Twitter, and I think on Facebook too, at BFR Lucha Chris, I said, and this does, it made my head hurt after I wrote it, which is why I ended it the way I did. I literally saw the shadow of that thing falling before the close-up of it falling, and Roman reacting to it twice before it fell. What the fuck did I just say?
It's because they have 80 camera shots, and cuts. I swear, dude, Kevin Dunn. We talked about
get out of
Vince
here,
McMahon.
Dude,
Kevin Dunn needs to go before Vince.
I completely agree. I totally agree.
Right.
So now that
Chris shoot that shot,
ooh,
Roman be fucking over. He'd be selling T-shirts.
No, he'd actually be dead. Like, get him out of here.
Okay, YouTube banged up. That's your segue. Go check it out.
No shit.
Go subscribe, and I'll wrap it up for our 3 count. F&B Eatery on the corner of 3453 Southampton and Marquette, our second part of our Southampton independent chain of restaurant tours. Go check my boy Mike out. He's got the smash burgers waiting for you. Kids menu, same way as JJ Twigs. Limited hours though. That's always the thing that I always stress to people, because I know myself, I have Sundays and Mondays off. Unfortunately, they are closed both days. They are open from Wednesday to Saturday. Go to their website, fnbeatery.com, all one word. You can go to their Facebook page, like their Facebook page. That way, when you see their specials, their closing of hours, because I'm thinking about fall is creeping around the corner. We're going to have NFL coming up here in a little bit. Weather's going to start getting bad here in a few months, and people who can't get dry because Mother Nature is going to have her way with the greater St. Louis metropolitan area. So, like I said, like that Facebook page. That way you can be ahead of anybody that is going to want steak and eggs. I saw steak and eggs last week as a daily special. Okay? That's the importance of liking that page. So that way, I'm smarter than you, because if I know I have to go to work at 3:30, I can swing by F&B Eatery at 2, bang up some steak and eggs, and be at work by 3 o'clock, ready to rumble. Go check my boy out. F&B Eatery, 3453 Southampton. Tell him that JCB sent you. Right here, Sam. Okay, we're just going to do some odds and ends. Just follow my lead. It shouldn't be any big deal. All right. Let's talk about AEW for a little bit. I want to get away from WWE for 30 seconds.
Thank God.
They see you ain't right. Obviously, we have a date set for AEW, October 2nd. They're going to play in the Capitol Center. I believe that is where the Washington Capitals and the Washington Wizards play. So that is about 20,000, give or take. pretty ambitious for opening night. Probably going to be able to sell out. Time will tell. A couple of matches that have been announced. You're going to have Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes in the first match ever on TV for AEW. Lucha Chris, thoughts on the first match?
Hey, I mean, honestly, at this point, obviously Cody's doing matches that are just helping get the product over. He's not really putting himself in a position to be too overpowering or anything. He's in his lane and he knows exactly what he's doing. So I'm pretty excited about seeing that match.
I had an argument on a podcast I was doing the other night about Cody versus Triple H. Is Cody the new Triple H?
I mean, no. But I mean, in the aspect of what Triple H does now, he's a little bit more similar than it would have been Triple H years ago. But no, I think Cody's just being Cody.
We're going to have the Bucks and Kenny Omega versus Y2J and a mystery tag team.
Revival.
Listening to Bully Ray on Busted Open, he dropped a hint that it was going to be a tag team, a traditional tag team. Your guess of who this tag team would be, AC2 Beer, Zach Pullman.
I've been thinking about this for sure because, I mean, you definitely could do Penta Phoenix again, and it would be like a banger match. But, yeah, I don't know. I think since they said mystery, I think it is going to be a surprise. I don't know when Revival's contracts are up, but we're coming soon.
Oh, yeah.
And they got a 90-day non-compete. I guess if they want to get the rest of their money, I think they can break that non-compete, but then they won't get paid. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works. But yeah, like that would be phenomenal. LAX is an option. I don't know. I've been thinking about it though. Like I have no idea. Which is great. That's better.
That is.
Yeah,
I
was going
agree.
to say I have no idea, and that's what the great part about it is. The Revival is the rumor that I hear,
Especially because of what they've been saying on social media.
Only problem with that is
they troll though.
For sure. So you just don't know, but that's the great part about it.
Mm-hmm.
My only problem is now we're getting to a point where I don't want to be taking too many of the WWE guys that are jumping ship for whatever reason. I think you take some on, but I don't think you want to take too many because I don't want this roster being bloated this early on. You're going to have the
Revival's a safe bet though.
It is.
No, without question. I'm a Revival guy, but
it's been a rumor for a long time too.
So yeah, they would get a chance to do their work, their good work in AEW. I don't care what anybody says.
Little Easter egg: Cody at the Double or Nothing when he got out. Remember him and Brandy pulled up in his brand new truck. He went to being the Elite. Like he's got like this really nice truck that he just bought.
Right.
And like they got out and he was drinking a Starbucks, and in place of the name, like where it would have said Cody, it said FTR.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, and apparently
interesting.
It's just a rumor, but I saw all over Twitter either this morning or last night that it's probably a rumor that they folded up the contract Vince offered them into an airplane and threw it at its face. I don't know how much I believe of that, but it's pretty fucking awesome.
I can imagine that Vince hands it to him personally.
No,
right, exactly.
So that's why you got lackeys to do that thing. AEW women's title, the first ever women's champion, will be crowned on that October 2nd show. Lucha Chris, if you had it your way, pins in your hand, who is the first women's champion for AEW?
To be honest with you, man, I don't know. I'm not as familiar with their talent in AEW because I wasn't really as familiar with where they came from before then. Awesome Kong could be a big one. I don't think it'll be her because she's more of a big match player. I don't know that she'll be champion right away. She's kind of a chaser. I really don't know, to be honest with you.
Brandy Rhodes could be a possibility. Would you be upset if Brandy Rhodes became the first AEW champion? Two beer.
Yeah, just because I just don't think it's a good idea. I wouldn't be like personally mad and get like fucking worked.
Yeah.
Like, some fucking internet neck beard like I am. So, like I wouldn't get like all fucking like super mad about it. Like I would just be like upset because like guys, like it's not a good idea.
Kylie Ray would be pretty sweet, though. Even though I don't think it'll happen, it would be pretty cool.
I mean, you can go one of two ways. Either you have like Awesome Kong do it, and babyface Chase,
right?
But I feel like they're gonna have Jericho win and have a babyface Chase.
Exactly.
So I feel like maybe you just like have like Dr. Britt Baker go. She's a babyface. She's talented, and work it out.
Ricochet versus AJ Styles set for SummerSlam. Thoughts on A, the match to set up on Raw, and B, rematch on Ricochet and AJ Styles? Lucha Chris.
One more time.
Thoughts on AJ Ricochet?
Oh, okay. Dude, it's going to be an awesome match. I mean, they've not had a bad match so far leading into this. Depending on where they go from here with it, it's a whole nother story. I don't see Ricochet taking the title back just yet because of the way they just set up with the tag titles and all that. They've got everything. I don't think they're going to take it from him yet.
The OC is a horrible name.
It's not great.
Did you pop when you found out that Rey Mysterio got unmasked by Andrade on Raw?
I didn't know that.
Took his mask off. They kind of showed his face a little bit.
I just found out, and that was I did not pop. That was my legit reaction to finding out.
And then that was not very good.
He wrestled without a mask on for fucking years.
WCW. Oh, Bischoff. Ah.
Maria becomes the new 24/7 champion after Mike Kanellis in a scramble steals the 24/7 title away, runs off, goes to celebrate in the locker room, and then one Maria Kanellis demands he lays down. She puts his foot on him, gets the ref over. 1, 2, 3. You have a new pregnant 24/7 women's champion. I asked of you, 2 beer Zach Pullman. Who's beating Maria?
Dude. I feel like it's gonna be something stupid. Like fucking R-Truth dresses up as a gynecologist or something. But I just want to say I have no understanding of how this is supposed to get Mike Kanellis over. They just signed that dude to a brand new lucrative contract, and he is the biggest fucking geek in WWE history. So bad.
No. I forgot what I was going to ask you. Would you have a problem if a man pinned Maria for the title?
No, because one of the 2 people I would like to see it do it.
Who is it?
One is Mike Kanellis. I want to see him take it back and kind of give her the whole I'm a man. The other one would be Maverick's wife.
I'm gonna jump back because I missed this. The OC, Jesus Christ, Gallows and Anderson win the tag team titles in a triple threat match. What's up, Bill? With the Usos and the Revival. Thoughts on the OC as the new tag team champions? 2 beer Zach Pullman.
I mean, I'm glad that they put them with AJ. It's recycling something that worked, and it's good to see them together. The name sucks. It's such an obvious we're better than you. It's a play on the Bullet Club, which is arguably one of the greatest stables in modern wrestling history. OC will not go down under that.
No. Not anytime soon.
Becky attacks Natty gets some get back. Are you excited for a possible submission match at SummerSlam? LC, talk to me.
No.
Pretty solid. I like that. Drew versus KO kicks off SmackDown on Tuesday night. Another loss for Drew McIntyre. 2-part questions going both ways. A, do you think that KO has a possibility to lose at SummerSlam, thus getting kicked off forever? And B, how concerned are you about Drew McIntyre? A, does KO get kicked off? Do you think there's a possibility?
No.
How concerned are you for Drew McIntyre?
I mean, for somebody that they feel like they're hot on and they want to protect, he gets beaten a lot.
Concerned for KO?
No, although if the brand split was still a thing, they could do what they did in the old school and he could quit, SmackDown and just get hired on Raw, but that's obviously not the case. I don't think there's any I don't think it's going to happen. No.
Bailey speaking of get back, Bailey and Ember Moon. Ember Moon not only eats the pin, but then gets belly to finish the segment. Obviously they have a title match coming up at SummerSlam. Do you think this is the best way to use the time to get this match over? Two Beers, Zach Coleman.
It's always like the opposite of logic. Like, it just makes perfect sense. Like, traditional stuff works on occasion, and just have the challenger beat the fucking champion in a non-title match, and then it gets you excited that they might do it again. Don't have the champion beat the challenger. Why would they even have a match after that? They're not worth it. They don't deserve it.
On Monday night, you had Alexa Bliss feigning injury to get out of her match versus Becky Lynch, and then replacing her, you had Nikki Cross, who ate the pin. On Tuesday night, you had Alexa Bliss taking the pin in this tag team match. Do you have a problem with Alexa Bliss's booking at this point, LC?
Yes and no. Like, it just, since she's been back, she's been, at least in the spotlight again. So I'm with that, but she's nothing to do isn't exciting. I do have to say though, that match on Raw, that half and half, the first half was actually a pretty fucking decent match. Once Nikki went in and they did that whole part, it kind of lost its steam. That first half of the match was actually pretty decent, but no, I mean, Bliss is Bliss and she's going to be fine.
Going to do thumbs up, thumbs down. Charlotte versus Trish. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Two Beer.
Thumbs up.
LC.
It was a thumbs down until, honestly, I saw the King's Court segment, and it wasn't. It was actually better than I expected. So yeah, sure, why not? Charlotte's not doing anything else right now.
I'm okay with it, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm thumbs up, I guess.
Better than it could be.
Better than it could be, but we needed to build this up a little more.
I agree.
That's another story for another time. We had a Twitter question presented to us by one Michael Wallace Seals. Go check my boy out. Follow him at Wallace Seals 17. He says that Becky and Seth are the most overrated wrestlers currently on the Raw roster. Most overrated male and female wrestler on the roster. Go.
Dude, stole my thunder. You asked me before the show to come up with a fucking most overrated male and female, and I'm like, oh, I got the perfect ones. I'm gonna get so much heat. Everybody's gonna be so mad. It's Seth and fucking Becky, and then damn, Mike Wallace.
Okay, at BFR.
But you're right, dude.
At BFR Zach, all lowercase letters. At BFR JCB.
Hey, let me tell you real quick why. Just very, very quickly.
Go ahead.
And you touched on it a minute ago, because right now Seth is the man's man. Before that, he was the Beast Slayer. Before that, he was the King Slayer and the Architect. And he's always just whatever he's next to. Like, he has no personality of his own.
Oh, yeah.
Dude's a good worker. I have no idea if he'd succeed in Japan like Moxley. I never would have thought Moxley was as good as he was. You might think that Seth would be better than he is if he went there. I have no idea. But I feel like he doesn't have his own personality.
He's a chameleon.
And whereas Becky has tons of personality, super over personality-wise, but in the ring, she's like the weakest of the four horsewomen. So,
most overrated, male, female.
Most overrated male, The Miz. But I will say Seth also. It's unfortunate because I love Seth, but he's also super overrated. And female, unfortunately, as much as I love her and was hoping there was going to be a lot of good behind it, Becky Lynch.
I'm going to take Roman Reigns. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, yeah. That
female side. Jesus Christ, I had it. Alexa Bliss, because just the booking is just absolutely shit. Tay, two more thoughts and let's get up out of here. Nakamura,
so good looking.
And that's another story for another time. Nakamura loses to Ali after beating him for the title at the week of at Smackville. Ali Nakamura looks like a thing. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I mean, give him more than 2 minutes, and I'd fucking love to see it. Like, I didn't watch Smackville.
I did. It was 3 matches, so who cares?
Who's gonna fucking watch house shows on the fucking network? Sorry if you did. I mean, like,
right.
How you won. I'm not good.
Yeah, goddamn.
No.
Last thought: Finn and Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt once again makes an impact. Cost Finn another title match, or not another title, but basically a match against one Dolph Ziggler.
Dude,
thoughts on Bray Wyatt.
Pour it the fuck on me and pour it the fuck on everyone. Dude, Bray Wyatt right now, in my opinion, is the most well-executed thing that they have done in 10 years. Just going to put that out there.
As long as Michael Cole stops saying The Fiend.
Oh, Michael Cole, most overrated person in WWE ever.
That's hot takes, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo!
Sam, I am. A little music, if you please. Traveling on out of here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for another edition of Banned from Ringside podcast.
R.I.P. Harley Race.
Harley Race. I want to go check that out. Starcade 83. For Sam the Mall.
Check.
For Lucha Chris.
Check.
For AC Two Beers Zach Coleman.
Check.
For Shock City Studios.
Check.
Happy 10th anniversary.
Check.
For JJ Twig.
Check.
For Soul Taco.
Check.
For Schlappy Pale Ale.
Check.
For my baby Becky Balboa. I'll see you on Saturday.
Extra check.
And for your boy JCB.
Check.
Holla at me. Boo the heels. Boo.
Of course, unless that heel is me.
You make a good ghost.
Hey, man. I can still smoke weed and do that shit. Get the fuck out of here.
Bye, YouTube.
Sorry, Sam. Once I saw him, I started to wrap it up. We were pretty much done. Anyway.
Dude, YouTube was lit today. It was constant.
Good. No.
Or YouTube or just YouTube in general?